the Illumination series as well as your Bonnie Chronicles. I am joined once again by Joceyln Short.
Hello.
Hi, Jocelyn.
She is a concept artist and illustrator. She is the creator of Bearers. And we are also joined by Andrea Rose Washington.
Hi.
She is a fellow author. She's author of Alindel, Amatry's Magic, and what's the other series?
Alothea, because I had to think about it.
Alothea. So if you're interested in any of our books or Jocelyn's art, there will be a link in the description on Spotify for podcasters of all of our websites, link trees, and where you can find all of our creative stuff. Today, we are once again talking Monarch Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV. We're reviewing the second episode, so if you have not watched Departure, spoiler alert. Go watch that and come back and hear us chat it up. We will be talking the things. This one was pretty interesting. Once again, how are you guys feeling about the back and forth time flows?
It's kind of weird.
I'm liking them.
Yeah.
It is weird, but I'm happy now it's only 2 times.
Yeah.
For the most part, no longer 3. I like hearing about the past and seeing the future.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been cool. I've been able to follow it. I always wonder how people feel about that. I've seen some folks online complaining about it, not liking the time jumps. We get a recap of what happened in the first episode, first up. And then we see next how Shaw got connected and assigned with the 2 scientists, starting out in Manila, 1952. My boy Lee fights bullies. Apparently, he doesn't like the Filipino women being sexually harassed, I assume, at a bar in Manila, in the Philippines. And we see him with a black eye. He fights 2 of the fellow army soldiers. And then he gets reassigned to a Japanese scientist, which is kind of ironic, as the guy who fights bullies doesn't want to see women sexually assaulted, but then assumes that a doctor has to be a man for some reason.
Yeah, that part was like, dude, are you serious? Like, you just kept digging yourself into a bigger hole.
Yeah.
Oh, I was looking for a doctor. I am a doc. I'm this person. I can't remember her last name. And he's like, oh, are you his daughter?
Yeah.
Just keep digging 6 feet, honey. Keep digging 6 feet.
He keeps going with it. He keeps going with it. And Keiko's an aggressive driver. I thought that was pretty funny because I've been in situations exactly like that when I was living in St. Thomas. I have a person with me who's normally a very conservative driver, but for some reason they would wait till we had stuff in the vehicle and were these tight corners in the island, very narrow streets, and they're driving like it's an Indy 500, and it kind of freaked me out. It was hilarious.
Girl that way.
Yeah. And
but that's because she knows the roads. Because she said she had driven those roads multiple times back and forth. So it's like once you get comfortable, you know when you can speed and when you have to slow down.
It's still very funny because she's right. I mean, she's riding with the stranger, but also the stranger who just like deeply underestimated her. So she's just like in the car. She's just like, "Oh, are you feeling safe?" Like, "Oh, you okay?"
Yeah. Yeah. And he assumes the funny thing is he proves like a stereotype, not necessarily a stereotype, but to me it's like it's very easy when you don't know what you're talking about to have these 2 little things in front of your teeth just to keep them closed. Just be quiet when you don't know anything about anything into the situation you're going into. And he just keeps opening his mouth the whole time. He assumes that Russia and the U.S. are the only countries that would have any type of nuclear power. So if she's following radiation, he's figuring it's got to either be from U.S. or Russia. And he's like, it ain't us. So he's out of his league here. It's hilarious.
What is the saying? I want to have the same audacity as a white male. Like, just I want to have the confidence. I want to have The confidence. That's what it is. The confidence of a white man.
Like better
That's what it was.
To me, it's like it's better to keep your mouth closed and let everybody think you're a fool than to open your mouth and prove it.
You would think that, right? Huh? Like that would be the smart thing to do.
White people can't help themselves sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
Especially back in that time, because we're in the 50s. So in their world, everyone
Prime
they always
time.
talked.
Prime time. Okay, for
And then
audacity.
the audacity. And then we flash forward again to Tokyo in 2015, and we have Kentaro, who skips work to visit his dad's office and throw a tantrum for some reason.
Yeah.
But it becomes a useful tantrum because he ends up finding the file that leads him to Shaw. So I mean, I guess there was that.
I was happy to see some rage. I was like,
Some
okay.
emotion from him?
Yeah, I was like, okay, all right. You know, it's one of the stages of grief, right?
Yeah, I'll give you that. His anger was actually directed towards the person it should have been directed towards versus directed towards his sister, who was just as innocent.
Yeah,
as him. So I'll give you that because he was annoying me a lot in this episode. I was just like, dude, I need you to stop being such a smart ass to your sister. Just stop. Just stop. Because she's right there with you.
Right. But I definitely appreciated him having a "you're not my dad" like moment.
That should have been. He's hoping he's not your dad, is what he's hoping for whatever reason. So yeah, they find he finds this file on Shaw, and then they go back to 52 again, and my boy Leland Shaw's at it again with "your English is very good," and then
so that has never gotten better.
Can't stop, won't stop. You know,
even today, people ask that question. It's like, do a little research. Maybe, just maybe, the whole world learns English, but also maybe I did my what you say, her doctorate at Berkeley. So like, stop assuming we're all from one spot. Like, we live in different countries.
I mean, it's also just an inside thought. Like, it's not anything you have to say out loud. Oh, your English is real good.
You speak so well.
I'm like giving him a slight, very minuscule pass because this is set in the 50s, and it's just like, okay, again, the audacity and the confidence of a white man in the 50s was unmatched. Like, you could not tell them nothing. So it's like, at least you're being a little bit more respectful in the way that you're insulting her versus just a straight up insult. It's still an insult, but it's just like, dude, come on.
But then any pass you could have really given him is automatically ruined when he comes up with the whataboutism. Because he's like, turns it around like, oh, come on. Like, you didn't assume anything about me. You didn't take one look at me and make a whole slew of assumptions about my background in life based on my appearance. And she's like,
the only problem is your background was probably true. Like, anything I assumed you had. If my assumption is you had an easier life than I did, I'm right. Like, if you were able to get an easier pass because of your race and gender, I am right.
Probably that he would say stuff like this and she'd be correct. Like, that's what I would assume. I just would assume I would prepare myself for some vocal nonsense, that I'm just gonna be inundated with like weird insults passively or directly. And that's exactly what we got.
Yes. And it's very interesting because of what we saw in episode 1 versus what we're seeing in episode 2. Because in episode 1, we see them as all friends, as like best friends and all that stuff. And like, they're joking and they have this like camaraderie with each other. And in this episode, it's like, dude, if you do not take your foot out of your mouth, stop. Like, it doesn't taste good. Stop eating it. Like, just stop putting your foot in your mouth. It's like, how did you ever get so close after being so ignorant?
Yeah, and then we have Billy Randa shows up finally, which again, if you haven't watched King Kong Skull Island, that character played by John Goodman we see at the beginning of this episode. This is the young version of that, and I'm kind of like not sure, like, are those more Shaw's kids? Because like you said, the camaraderie we see of them in the episode 1 even though
Wait, I'm sorry. Repeat what you said.
Jonathan Goodman is the older version of the Rand that we get here.
He is?
Yes. That's Billy Randall, the one who's apologizing for stealing the stuff from Hiroshi. When he has that bag that he throws into the ocean, I think that's supposed to be the younger version of Jonathan Goodman's character. That's the Navy vet that we find in this episode. I think that's him. And they have the same last name at least, right? So if it's not the same character, then they're related. That's Billy Randa, William Randa. And he enters. He shows up. Go ahead.
Bill is a nickname for William, so
yes,
never made sense to me. But it is a shorthand for Will.
Yeah.
So
Billiam.
Yeah, Billy the jungle hermit that shows up out of nowhere, which was strange to me that he, now that we're seeing that this is how the genesis of that group coming together, and he wasn't initially a part of, because they just send Shaw out to escort this Japanese scientist. There's no mention of another scientist, but they become a group here running around, and it's surprising to me. We flash forward again in 2015, and we see Kate Randa being tailed by Monarch, the agent, and Tim. And Tim is creepy. Go ahead. I know you guys understand.
As a woman, if any man follows me, like, oh, let's make a call, or like, oh, says anything like of that nature, that weird, in the sense, like, the moment he came on, I was like, I'm Tim. Then you can't get any safer than a Tim. Excuse me, cops, police, because like, as far as they know, I'm Japanese because I speak Japanese. He doesn't. Excuse me, this white American male is like being rude to me. They don't ever have to know that I'm not a Japanese citizen. Nothing. I will play that card. Like, because the fact that she left the building with him and then tried to run, I would have raised your hands. Excuse me, yelled in Japanese. This man is trying to attack me because, honey, why are you making such dumb decisions? Like, you were surrounded by people. You were surrounded by people who worked in the train station. You spoke their language, he didn't, or you spoke it better and you looked the part. Play that card, but why would you go outside? And then why would you throw your phone at him? Your only way of means of communication with like your mom's like, hey, some people are chasing me. I don't know. She just kept making dumb decisions and she was pissing me off in that part. I was like, the moment, go away, very loudly, go away.
I feel you, but I honestly, I don't know if I would have behaved any different, because that's really stressful. When someone is being like, starts being creepy and it's kind of amping itself up real fast, it's like, oh man, like fight or flight starts kicking in, and it's like,
I've been in that situation. I've gotten loud. I found someone who works here. I was like, excuse me, he's following me. I think he has a question. But he won't leave me alone. I've done that. I've gotten people. I was like, nope. I don't know why.
When he made that statement about not like you're going to end up dead or buried or something like that, it'd have been, I'm like, oh no, what's the rap? That didn't come out the way it should. That shouldn't have came out.
That's it.
Security.
Like, hello.
And she did afterwards, after she had gotten to the car and escaped and hit him in the head with the phone, tried to run, then got put in the car. That was weird to me. And then she did go to the cops afterwards, and they were treating her like, oh, she's like, oh, you think I'm drunk? Like I just made this stuff up now.
That one was not a win for the police anywhere.
Yeah.
That was just like, oh God, I'm traveling to your country soon. That does not make me feel better.
What's up, Francisco? He says, now you're making the movie again.
I think they're saying now you're making me want to watch the movie again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Skull Island is good.
I met him at New York.
Okay, cool.
Oh my God.
Very cool.
I don't understand how Tim and Monarch didn't immediately make the connection, as we find out later that other people realized that Hiroshi had, at least he was aware of the son and wife in Japan. And we know Hiroshi worked for Monarch. They wouldn't keep tabs on their people. Like,
so now like that part of the episode, the fact that some people knew and some people didn't,
Yeah.
made me wonder which at this point which one was first and which one was second. Like which was the secret? Was
Yeah.
America the secret or
was it
or
Japan
was
the secret?
Japan the secret?
Right.
Yeah.
At first I thought Japan was the secret, but now as we see in this episode, I think maybe America was the secret.
Mm. They
I
flash
kinda-
back. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I kind of hope that the planning that this dad did, I hope it is like actually like that. It turns out that it's actually just like sloppy planning. How he separated these families and like who he told. I kind of hope that it just ends up messy instead of like an actual well thought out calculated plan.
It's just how he rolled. He was a scientist, but he was just kind of sloppy with every other facet of his life. So they flash back again to 1952. We're reunited with Keiko Mura, Lee Shaw, and Billy Randa, and they get into an argument over whether to let this strange newcomer join. And Lee's like, I didn't sign up for this. I'm here to protect you, and I can't do that with this weirdo who just showed up out of nowhere. And she's like, I didn't ask for you. I don't need you. You can go. And my boy, he's like, don't tempt me, Doc. And then he actually hops in the Jeep talking about, I'll send someone back. And he bounced. I was like,
this is like when he actually sort of made sense. Like, honey, you don't know Bill. Like, at least there's some record of you having to be with Lee. At least there's a record of Lee being assigned to you.
Yeah.
But you actually, just because like Bill is telling you everything you want to hear,
yeah,
you actually do not know if he's from a rival agency, if he's there been sent to stop you. Like, you actually don't know if you can trust this guy. Because I'm gonna be honest, Bill seemed too good to be true, coming out of like the woods, like, oh, I'm searching for the same thing. This is what you guys should do. Listen to me. On the surface, that is creepy.
It makes even more sense to kind of get away from once we get a little bit further into the story, because they after he splits, they go back to the 2015 era, and we see May's apartment, and Kentaro shows up at the apartment, want his stuff. We know it's not all he wants, but he, it's an excuse to go over there. He done found something else, hands her another file. He's trying to what?
Trash, just like his daddy. Don't know how to treat women.
Yeah, he shows up. He's like, "Yeah, well, I want my stuff." And he's like, "Well, it belongs to me. Why do you care?" She shuts him down.
I'm busy.
You what?
No, that's what she says. She's like, I'm busy. I don't have time for that.
And I thought that was a bit weird. I understand if she felt that he did her wrong and wants to shrug him off, but also she's obviously combing through the files, but she doesn't want it like, get out of here. You come back tomorrow. And she sits down and is just going through the files, and now she's got some more stuff with her.
I can't say I'm above that, because like he just come busting, like he just came busting in my door talking about some, give me the files.
Oh, I'm gonna have to eat my words. He said he was texting her, and she's like, I don't have to return your text. So maybe he was asking, can I come and get my stuff, or can we talk? And she didn't return the text. But at the same time, we also know that he wasn't treating her right. So standing up for my black girl.
And then my boy Tim, after he leaves, shows up to Kentaro in his mom's apartment.
But her first, May's first.
Huh? I know he went to Maze. No. I think that's later they find him in Maze.
No, it was May's first. It's the sister, then May, and then Tim goes to the brother's apartment because May tried to call him.
Yeah, she tries to call when they're there. Right before he gets a phone call right before the knock on the door. I'm sorry, Tim would have got cracked.
You don't just bust up in my house.
Talking about, it's official business. We're the government agent, and then you can't even name me the government agency.
That was crazy.
As soon as you tried to cross the threshold of my door, I would have Dwayne the Rock Johnson clotheslined you right there on the spot. Like, you don't just bust up in my crib. You got a nice place. You had some nice teeth a few seconds ago.
In the words of the musical Chicago, he ran into my knife. He ran into my knife 9 times,
times.
10 times.
Yep, 10 times.
You were in my house uninvited. Oh my gosh, what happened? He fell onto my knife.
Yep.
Yeah, and we haven't seen what she can do. I'm assuming old girl can do something, the agent that Tim takes with him, but we haven't seen that yet. So the eye test, I'm like, look, Mom's is cool. Mom's plays them, and I don't care what language they're speaking if you don't understand. I understand body language when you get that slow little handshake, a little squint of the eyes, and the nod. You should just give them what they want. I was like, I mean, you knew he was doing something sneaky when that, what?
No, sorry. I'm going to save my thought for later because it goes into what we talk about later. Never mind.
Yeah. Then Kentaro escapes. And she tries to offer him tea while he's making his getaway, and then belatedly, the agent jumps through and tries to give chase, and they're gone. And then we flash back to.
Can we just talk about the fact that he had a door to the hallway connected to his bedroom?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
That's weird. I was like, okay, I thought he was gonna go out a window or something, and like on the ledge, but like, there's a door to the hallway in your bedroom.
Maybe there's like a fire escape type of thing in case of fire.
I'm sneaking out. He's sneaking out.
Yeah.
He was sneaking out growing up.
And Bill and Keiko find the ship. This is where my red flags would have went up if I was Keiko. You find this ship washed up in the Philippines that somehow went down in Pearl Harbor. Nobody knows about this ship. Like, nobody knows that it's not like a Bermuda Triangle thing where it disappeared and no one knows where this object is. It's a large object. It's not like something small. Pops up on another island or set of islands, and nobody's talking about this.
I just feel like Keiko's operating on vibes. I just feel like she's just out here just like, oh my God, wow. Let's go inside. Let's explore. Let's figure it out. We don't need you. We don't need you. You get out of here. You stay. Let's go inside this ship and see what it's about. Who cares about context?
But when she realizes that he is opening his own footlocker on said ship, like, that doesn't set up an antenna, doesn't send an antenna up. Like, who else survived? And he turns around and tells you, just me? Like, how did you survive the Muto attack? Well, they don't even know if it's classified as a Muto yet, because I think that's a term he created.
Yeah, because right now they think it went down from like an attack or a bomb, but he was like, no. He's searching because no one believed him when he said he saw a dragon. Because he tells Lee and them earlier before they all separated, he saw a dragon. And when they're on the ship, like, this is what no one believed me about or something.
Yeah. I was tripped out, but like, why does nobody know about this phenomenon being in the Philippines? And then at the end kind of that scene, Shaw turns around because he sees like these weird northern lights in the sky, and that makes him turn the Jeep around and head back. That was
just like the flight path. And that's like the residue left from the flight path. That's the only thing I could think that made sense. Because otherwise, why was that there?
Yeah. So then we have another flash forward again. After you see him turn around, we don't see the result, the end of that culmination of those scenes yet, because we go back to 2015 briefly, where the new crew is assembled. They're all running from Monarch, and they meet up at the ramen spot. I guess they know that that's the common place to go to is the ramen. Mm-hmm. And Kate whines, and that kind of annoyed me. Like, I don't want a fake passport. I want don't y'all understand that a government agency is after y'all now? Like, and you dropped your phone, your everything, your identification, your passport.
You threw your phone. He has everything. Just, you left your bag in the car.
She just doesn't have very many survival skills. She's not a survivalist. That's what we're learning about her. She just, she's like, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm like,
that don't matter.
Yeah, I'm like, you were born.
Yeah. I'm rolling with May at this point. She called her, what are you, born identity? Because Jason Bourne, because she had the money and she had the bug out bag basically for the money and the extra passports. Like, I got contacts. We can do some things.
Mhm.
It's like, you were in San Francisco, you don't have a bug out bag, and I'm like, that's actually a really good thing to have, because like you never, like
You
if you
never
live
know.
in an area where like if a flood is coming or something's coming, instead of packing, just I need to, if something's common enough that you have to drop everything and run at a moment's notice, yes, have a bug out bag.
Yep.
And I don't think it should be weird for that. I'm glad May has one. She's like, let's go, I'm ready.
And then of
Let's
course
run it.
Kentaro butts
Micro
in
power.
like,
Let's do
no.
this.
My boy's like, no, I know what to do. Just trust me. We're gonna go to this old folks' home. I guess the Japanese version of Shady Acres, where they got Lee because he done read the file, and they're gonna go. They go out to there, and we find out my boy is on how. May's the only one that's aware.
Yo, she clocks it immediately. She's like,
he clocked the camera in the room that he looked at. She's looking at stuff.
Like, that don't make sense. The way she's like, the way everyone looking, she's used to being looked at differently, so she always clocks it. Other people just assume they are accepted the other way, but no, she's a black woman in Japan. She knows when people are staring at her. She knows it's like, oh,
yeah. Kate and Kentaro are just following the conversation. They're not being hush hush because he knew about the camera. Lee did, and he was like, "Let's talk outside."
Mm-hmm.
And then she still peeped the
one in the tree,
the pinhole camera in the bush, and pulled out the little cords. Like, but then she was kind of being dumb too because she was saying stuff out loud like monsters, and he was like, "Hey, can you kind of keep it cool? Can you keep it down?"
Like she looked in the camera, and then she turned around. What is this place?
Yeah.
What is this?
What she should have did was like, oh, this is such a beautiful tree. Like, what type of tree is it? Don't let them know that you know.
Yeah, she did. She pulled it out. She pulled the cord.
She turned around and was like, "Hello." I'm like, man.
Yeah. So then turns around like, "What's up with the monsters?" And he's like, "Shh, cool that down." And then we find out my boy is basically on house arrest. He got the whole little ankle bracelet, cuts it off, and says, "Look, you got about 60 seconds before they're on us. We got to roll. So what's it gonna be?" So we know that they're gonna leave off on a new. Don't swallow that garbage about your pops disappearing without a trace. We're gonna find out what really happened, and then we go back to Keiko and Billy in the ship with this weird ass animal slobber in the body. I'd have left as soon as we saw the bodies. Like,
so because I guess it was so many years ago and the bodies weren't like completely decomposed is the part that I think freaked them out. Because they said it happened at least like 2 or 3 years ago. I want to say he said 9 years.
Yeah, it was like 8 or 9 years. But the thing is, they're encasing that slobber, whatever.
Yeah. So like something's keeping them alive or keeping them preserved for a reason. So I think it's like, okay, I see everything. Like, this is weird. This is gross. There should be skeletons and they're not. We need to go.
It's kind of at that point in the show where I'm like, you know what? Keiko and Billy are made for each other. Because obviously they didn't stop at this incident, because we've already seen 2 incidents with them running into some weird stuff, and they get on their Scooby-Doo, let's investigate hats on. And it's like, no, y'all should be getting the hell up out of there. But,
what's that soldier's name again? Was it Shaw?
Yeah, Shaw. Yeah.
I just know he's sick of them. I don't even know why he stayed with them for as long as he did. Like, I'd be so tired of y'all. Like, I'm like, you need me at this point.
You kind of understand him from episode 1, because this is a previous encounter. Like, and he keeps saying it like, I need to keep you eggheads alive. That's you are not good for each other, and you're obviously just walking willy-nilly into dumb situations over and over again.
I just feel like I'd be fighting them all the time. Like, I'm like, everybody square up. Because
smart people make dumb decisions. Because for some reason, when you're exploring, it's like, oh, let's go into the unknown. Let's not.
I'm like, let's
study the unknown before we step into the unknown.
This is not a video game. You cannot reload a save.
Yeah, no.
You cannot respawn. You cannot try again. Yeah. You cannot skip past this level if you don't beat the boss twice in a row. Like,
and I'm like, since we've seen these 2 situations, we know that they probably ran into, and because of the footage we see on the Monarch files of Keiko standing in the Godzilla footprint, that they've had multiple run-ins with creatures. If I was Shaw, I'd be like, yo, I need backup. It can't just be me and my 9mm Glock rolling up to these Bigfoot and Godzilla trails.
But you know what? Even from the first episode, I think because he bring up the point, or did we bring up the point that like they needed backup? Like I can't remember if he
Yeah,
said
we
it.
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
we said that they should have had backup.
Yeah, we
Okay.
brought that up. Like,
Because like he was questioning her in that first episode before they went like into that cave. You
yeah,
know, he was just like, and we're setting off You know, I just feel like they moved too fast.
Yeah.
Like for him to even like get a chance to even be like, maybe let's call back up. Maybe let's get some help. Maybe we should have some ENTs on the line or something.
yeah.
Like there's no time for that. She just out here on vibes. Okay. And mana.
And like the ship is randomly there, so let's just like, hey, a ship that was in the middle of the ocean is randomly in the middle of an island
On land.
Land. There's not a lake or river. There's no like it's on land. It's not sitting in the middle of a lake that had like an underwater cavern. It's smack dab.
That's why I'm
How
surprised no one knows
about we
about
go find some people, because like if you both go in and you can't see outside, you both don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be, okay, we're gonna stay stationed outside to watch the perimeter, because who knows if it's there? Who knows what like that's there? It could be a stronghold for gangsters. It could be a stronghold for animals. Like you don't know what's inside, and no one knows you're there except the guy who ditched you. Like
these are just deeply unserious people. That's all.
Yeah, this actually makes episode 1 make more sense now that this is previous, because I'm like, oh, y'all been stupid.
Yeah,
this isn't just like a one-time thing. Y'all been doing this stupid mess, and now we just found the first one now in the second episode. So, and we see through the footage of the Monarch files that you've been doing this over and over again. I was thinking it was going to be another creche or like larval situation with the humans, the sailors, like kept on the ship by this weird goopy saliva stuff in preparation to feed something. I was thinking maybe it's preserving it because this is like they refrigerated a saran wrap for the babies coming later.
I'm hungry. We got McDonald's at home. We got McSailors at home. We ain't getting no McSailors out here. We got McSailors at home. Okay, get your butt on the ship and get your McSailors.
Grab you one of them Sailor McNuggets over there. It's kept in the refrigerator of the ship.
It tastes exactly the same. Exactly the same.
And the ship ends up falling over. They run out of it, and just as stuff is getting pounded in the ship, Shaw pops back up as Billy is trapped under a steel girder. They get him out. The whole thing collapses, and we get our dragon at the end sitting atop the ship. I'm like, y'all fools.
Yeah, just idiots.
Just came in the nick of time somehow.
Yes, somehow.
How did he know where they were going?
That's exactly what I said. As soon as he popped in, I was like, how did you know where this was? How did you even get back here in time for this?
So my thought on that, because I was thinking the same thing the first watch. The second watch, when I noticed the trail again, and I was like, I think that's a flight path. I think he followed that back, and that took him to the ship, because there is no other reason why he should have gotten there. And I was like, well, if they made us a point for us to see the flight path, or like whatever that is, my mind is he followed that, because you're right, ain't no other way he could have.
Unless he tracked them from the campsite. Yeah, unless he tracked them from the campsite. But like we discussed before, he hasn't been here before. She was the one familiar. That's how she knew how to drive so fast to where they were going. And it set up a little mini campsite. So maybe he knew his way back to that campsite, and then he could track them from the site where she had set up the equipment to where they walked through the jungle to find this ship.
I can't imagine they would have gone too far, because at this point they're on foot.
So. But they didn't show us that.
Right.
They just, like, he sees the thing in the sky, he hops back in the Jeep, turns around, and the next time we see him, he's in the ship getting them out, and the ship falls over. So I was like, that's kind of a weird situation where we don't know how he found exactly where they were going, or unless this thing was making so much noise at that point that he could hear it from wherever he
That's
was.
valid. That's valid. I just chalked it up to just like Hollywood stuff.
Yeah. Or dragon beating up ships in the middle of the jungle is a loud noise.
Yeah.
But then, like, who's running towards that? Like,
So there was a point I wanted to make earlier when Tim was in Kentaro's apartment, and he didn't know that was the son until he saw the photo. So Lee knew about the son. Monarch knew about the daughter. So I'm really confused as in who was a secret from who. Because I feel like if Monarch knows about the daughter, they should also know about the son. Yeah. So now I'm flipping. Was Japan the secret? At first I thought, because now I'm going back and forth, and also Lee has known him almost his entire life. Yeah. So what is I would think once he would trust one person with this monumental, horrible secret to help him keep his lies straight. Like,
I don't think
is weird.
I don't think anyone knew. I mean, at least I hope nobody knew. I really want this to just play out poorly.
How did Tim know to find Kate?
So yeah, because it's like he was only surprised about finding the father's picture in the son's apartment. Yeah. So it's like, oh my God, you're his son. So it's like, that means you knew about the daughter because you weren't. So like, if you knew about the daughter, why didn't you know about the son? Because he was doing Monarch work in Japan. I'm assuming
he only knew about the son because Kate left all her info. She dropped her bag, her everything. They had all that stuff.
Yeah, and they probably could have tracked where she was.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know how he arrived at approaching her at the train station when they start following her around town. Like, how did they get that information?
Like a serial killer.
Because
I feel like they're so bad at their jobs to be doing it.
The IP address they found was a general location in Tokyo. Like, so that
let's see.
Yeah, if they got her information, Kate's, that would lead them to May. Because
May's the one who hacked.
Yeah, but Kate's the first one they approached, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because she tries to follow up and go to May's apartment, and May's the one that pulls her out of the alley, like when she's about to, or in the dark hallway when she's about to go in, like, they already here. Get back here.
You would think after being, and like this, I guess this might be a completely wrong thing to say, but you would think after being in such a horrible situation, you would have better flight or fight instincts because now, like you've seen what happens if you just stand still and don't do anything.
Yeah.
So like, oh crap, there are people in my friend's apartment who just had me with the hood over my head in a car that had to flip. I'm gonna freak out in the hallway or turn around and run. And then why did you not run faster away? Like, why was May like down the stairs out the door and you turn back and look? No, don't turn back and look. Run first. Ask questions later.
Yep.
Don't make a sound. Don't touch it. I was so afraid that she was gonna hit something on her way out because she was so stupid. I was just like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Honey, just make it out of there alive, please, quietly, like a mouse.
So I think it goes without saying, they're already hinting at it, that the father's not dead. I'm assuming they're going to find him on some escapade with OG. Colonel Shaw now is going to lead them on this goose chase to find where Pops is. And it would be hilarious if either Joceyln would be right and he was just a sloppy in life beyond the science, or this may have been all some meticulous plan as to reason why he's going to rationalize why he had to have the two families and operate the way he did.
He's going to say, I loved you both. No, sir. You loved one. And if you fell in love with another, that means you didn't really love the first one. So you stayed with one and you loved the other. And my vote, and I really hate to say this, my vote is my thought is I think he's going to stay. The Japanese wife is going to keep him and the American wife is going to divorce him.
I couldn't choose neither of y'all. I was chasing monsters, baby.
And they're going to choose for him. And I think Kate's mom is going to be like, I want a divorce. Even though we have not seen her on camera, but her voice, I don't think she's going to stay with him, knowing he has a full-grown son I think the Japanese wife,
Yeah.
she was angry, but I still feel like I don't think she could get that angry to leave him.
I can't wait for the family reunion. I really want somebody to punch him in the face. I
feel like Kate will.
I just need somebody to do it. Whether
I
it's
think surprisingly, if it is, it's going to be Ken. Ken's going to do
Really?
surprisingly.
I hope. Oh my god! I hope it's a
He
full
has
out
this
brawl.
like, he's got this like almost like religious love for dude. When he finally comes to the realization of how betrayed he is, it's gonna override, and he's gonna be able to control himself. He's gonna sock him. Does
so
he?
excited. I want it to be a full out brawl.
Yeah.
I feel like Kate will, because like not to say she's more hurt than he is, but I feel like she was abandoned twice.
Yeah.
And like he was only like abandoned once. Like she went through everything in San Francisco, and her father literally just gave her a bag and said, "Okay, go somewhere else. Go to Reno," and like left. Didn't like help her through it. So like she was already angry at her dad before he died, and so it's like a different thing of being angry before they died, because it's like, now that you're alive, all my anger from that time that I felt bad about holding on because I didn't know what to do because I thought you were dead. I can now like punch you. But getting angry with someone after they have died, when like when you find out they're alive, you're just more relieved that they're alive.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, I was mad at you when you were alive. I'm gonna kill you now. Like, versus all that doesn't matter. I love you. You're alive.
I hope they shoehorn in some kind of training montage, like a small one, where they learn how to fight. And I hope that both of them jump the daddy. That's what I.
You go high, I go low. Left cheek, right cheek, left cheek, right cheek.
He secretly created a master team to whoop his own ass, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I want Kate to be the one to punch him. I really do. I really do. I feel like Ken is gonna forgive his dad a lot easier, because, like I said, he died with love. He died being happy with his father, versus finding out something after his death. Versus Kate was pissed with her father for like abandoning them before he died. After, it's one thing like, oh, I'm home for a week. Oh, my wife just had like a minor surgery. I can't stay. Tell her I love her. Got to go. Like, they could have been dead. Like, Godzilla attacked their city, and you spoke to your daughter for like 60 seconds and dipped.
Yeah.
Nah.
I think that's predictable, though. I think that's why they're going to flip it and have the son be the one, because he finally comes to the actual realization of what happened. And he's just going to be like, when the light bulb goes on, oh, you mother, and he's going to be mad in the moment, the very last second it goes swinging. Now, legally, are one of the marriages technically automatically annulled because man was already married prior?
They must be. It must be.
Actually,
because don't people get in trouble when they do that here? Like, if they marry and then go somewhere else and marry again when they haven't dissolved the previous marriage?
Yeah, I mean, like what? Yeah, because like I think it just means one of the marriages doesn't count.
Yeah,
that might not be true depending on which marriage was first.
Yeah.
I don't know the law in Japan, but like in some countries, it is legal for a man to have more than one wife. And so if he got married in the U.S. first and then got married in Japan, it may not be illegal. Not saying Japan is not illegal.
I say illegal, but one of them might can't, like she said, maybe cancels the other one out.
It might not, though, because like if you get married in the U.S. and you're only married to this one wife in the U.S., that marriage is legal in the U.S. But if you went to like Saudi Arabia, where it's legal to have more than one wife, and you got married to another person in that country, your marriage is valid to that person in that country. And I don't think it would affect your American one, because in America, you're married to one woman. But in another country, you're married to more than one. As long as you don't try to bring your wife to the U.S., I don't know if it would invalidate the American one. I think you couldn't get married again in America. But I'm not sure, because like I have friends whose fathers live in the U.S. but still have wives in other countries. But it's not illegal because they got married in the country where it was legal. And their U.S. wife is the only U.S. wife that they have. So it depends on the country and who was married first. And the American one was always the first wife. The other countries came later.
Let me find out this is secretly we got Tyler Perry under a pseudonym on the writing crew with this show and be rolling. That's why we got all this drama.
It depends on the country, I think.
Yeah.
But
Appreciate
you can
y'all
only have
taking-
one legal one in the US, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see it happen. I think we got 6 more episodes to go. There are 8, right?
I believe so.
Okay. So we'll see what happens in the end. It'll be interesting to see what happens and see if I know a boy's alive. In my heart, I think he's still a king.
I want to see him sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Like next episode, I want to see him.
We'll see. Appreciate y'all taking the time out of your day to chop it up with me about these things. The 3 to 5 lurkers, Francisco, who actually commented, thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to us chop it up about these things. We will be back next week to talk about episode 3. Appreciate y'all. Have a good week.
See y'all.
Bye.
Peace.